They called it the Great Wall of Africa. A structure so vast, so intricate, that European explorers could scarcely believe it had been built by human hands. It stretched for over 16,000 kilometers, dwarfing even the Great Wall of China in sheer length. But this was no ordinary wall. It was a fortress, a masterpiece of engineering, and the very heart of one of Africa's most powerful kingdoms, Benin. For hundreds of years, these walls kept enemies at bay, guarding a kingdom so rich in art, trade, and military prowess that it rivaled the great civilizations of the world. They were not built of stone like European castles, nor were they mere defensive barriers. They were an interconnected system of moats, ridges, and earthen ramparts that made the city of Benin one of the most well-defended places in the world. But in 1897, the walls met the greatest challenge. The British Empire, fueled by greed and a thirst for conquest, launched a punitive expedition to do what no force before had ever accomplished: breach the Great Walls of Benin and bring the kingdom to its knees. But this was not an easy war. What the British thought would be a swift invasion turned into a grueling fight against warriors who knew their land, their walls, and their enemy far too well. It was a battle of strategy, endurance, and betrayal, a battle that would ultimately lead to the fall of one of Africa's greatest civilizations. This is the story of the walls of Benin and those who dared to breach them. To understand why the walls were built, we must go back to the roots of Benin's power. The Kingdom of Benin was founded around the 11th century in what is now southern Nigeria. The kingdom grew under the rule of the Obas, powerful kings who expanded their territory through warfare, diplomacy, and economic dominance. By the 15th century, Benin had become one of the most sophisticated kingdoms in Africa, with a well-organized military, a booming trade system, and a capital city that amazed European visitors. But power attracts enemies. Neighboring kingdoms, jealous of Benin's wealth, launched raids. Foreign traders, seeing the kingdom's vast resources, plotted ways to take control. The Obas knew they needed to protect their empire, not just with warriors, but with an unbreakable defense. And so, the walls of Benin were built. This was no ordinary construction project. The walls were not a single structure but a complex system of fortifications. According to scholars, they were constructed over several centuries, reaching their peak in the 14th and 15th centuries. The walls consisted of a vast network of ramparts and moats, stretching over 16,000 kilometers, making it the largest man-made structure in pre-colonial Africa. Deep trenches and ditches, strategically dug to slow down invaders and trap them in ambush zones. Multiple layers of walls, with the inner walls protecting the royal palace and the outer walls shielding the entire kingdom. The walls were built using a technique known as rammed earth construction, where thousands of laborers compacted earth with water, layer by layer, to create walls strong enough to withstand attacks. It is estimated that the construction took more material than the Great Pyramid of Giza, making it one of the greatest engineering feats in human history. By the 15th and 16th centuries, when European explorers arrived, they were stunned. A Dutch visitor in the 1600s wrote, "Benin City is larger than Amsterdam. The streets are wide, the houses are clean, and the city is well governed. The walls stretch beyond sight, and no European city can compare to its order and greatness." But for the people of Benin, the walls were more than just physical barriers, they were a symbol of their power and identity. For centuries, the walls did the job. They repelled invaders, rival kingdoms, and rebellious factions. They ensured that the Oba of Benin controlled trade on his own terms. When the Portuguese arrived in the 15th century, seeking gold, spices, and slaves, they quickly realized that Benin was not a kingdom to be bullied. Unlike many African states, Benin controlled its interactions with Europeans. The Obas dictated the terms of trade, ensuring that their kingdom remained independent and powerful. Even when the transatlantic slave trade expanded, Benin refused to fully engage in it, choosing instead to trade in ivory, textiles, and palm oil. But as time went on, foreign powers became more aggressive. By the 19th century, the British had grown tired of Benin's control over trade. They wanted the kingdom's resources, its land, and, most importantly, its rich supply of palm oil, which was crucial for the booming industrial economy in Europe. In 1897, Britain decided to take what it could not negotiate. It began with deception. The British, under the pretext of diplomacy, sent a delegation to Benin City in January 1897. But the Oba, suspecting treachery, refused to allow them in. The British, insulted and eager for an excuse to attack, declared war on Benin. A force of 1,200 British soldiers, armed with machine guns, cannons, and explosives, was sent to destroy what had stood for centuries. At first, the Benin warriors put up fierce resistance. They knew their terrain well, using ambush tactics and guerrilla warfare to slow the British advance. The jungle became a battlefield, filled with deadly traps, hidden tunnels, and warriors armed with poisoned arrows and spears. But the British had something Benin did not: firepower. The walls, which had withstood centuries of attacks, were blasted apart by cannons and dynamite. British soldiers stormed the city, burning it to the ground and looting its treasures. The legendary Benin Bronzes, priceless artworks depicting the history and culture of the kingdom, were stolen and shipped to Europe, where they remain to this day. The Oba of Benin was captured and exiled, and the kingdom was brought under British rule. The once mighty walls, symbols of Benin's greatness, were left in ruins. Today, only fragments of these walls remain. Many have been destroyed by urban development, and others have been lost to time. But their legacy endures. Archaeologists consider them one of the greatest achievements of African engineering. Historians recognize them as a testament to Benin's power, innovation, and resilience. And for the people of modern-day Nigeria, the walls remain a symbol of resistance, a reminder of a time when their ancestors built a fortress so strong that it took the full force of an empire to bring it down. But did the British truly conquer Benin? Or did the spirit of its people, its art, and its history survive, waiting for the day when the world would once again recognize its greatness? One thing is certain: the walls of Benin may have fallen, but their legend will never die. The story of the walls of Benin is more than just history. It's a testament to resilience, strength, and the struggle against imperial conquest. But history is only powerful when it is remembered and shared. At Native Historian, we are dedicated to uncovering the hidden truths of history, the stories that were erased, and the legacies that still shape our world today. If you believe these stories need to be told, then let's keep this journey alive. Like this video to help more people discover the rich history of Africa and beyond. Subscribe to Native Historian and turn on the notification bell so you never miss an episode. Share your thoughts in the comments. Do you think the walls of Benin could have stood longer against the British with different tactics? Let's bring history back to life, together. This is Native Historian, where the past speaks and the future listens. See you in the next video.